What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the shop and the channel. Tonight we're kind of stepping away from a few things that we've been working on, and we got a customer's bike in here. It's actually a four-wheeler. It's a Yamaha Wolverine, and they're having problems with the bike wanting to choke out when they're riding it, kind of like bogging down, and then it'll go. So we got the carburetor took apart. We're going to show you guys what we found on it. Alrighty, here's the quad, four-wheeler, what do you want to call it? Yamaha Wolverine, pretty clean bike. It ain't got the factory lights on the front, but other than that, she's a clean looking unit. Four-wheel drive. I don't know if it's factory tires, but she's pretty clean. Now we've got ahead and took the carburetor out, as you see. Got the airbox, carburetor, everything took out there. This is all the bolts and junk that we've took out, airbox. Now we'll go over and show you the carburetor and what I found. Alrighty, here we go. Got the carburetor all took apart and been cleaning it. We have yet to get the needles. Let's see, the jets here, not that one, that's the idle screw, but here. And then this is the fuel inlet for the needle and seat. The needle's still on the float, but we ain't yet cleaned them out yet. But when I was taking the top of the carburetor off, I didn't have to take all this off, but I went ahead and did it anyways. The diaphragm, the slide right here, this spring looks all nice and pretty one piece. There you go. She's two piece, and that ain't supposed to be two piece. So what we did is we've cleaned the carburetor and everything out here. Got it looking good and fresh again. We got to yet clean down in the where the needle and seat goes. Got to clean that up. We got this over here cleaned out. Still got to do a little cleaning on it to get it to perfection. That's where that goes. That spring and that diaphragm, you can see it's saturated with fuel. We're going to clean all that off, get it looking sweet. Got the top of the carb clean where the slide goes and that diaphragm sits. Up in here, we're going to have to clean just a little bit around that butterfly, but it's looking okay. In here is looking good. We've done blowed all this out, which we'll clean it a little more and blow it again, just to get all the contaminants out of it. We've yet to clean the bottom here, and you can see the seal on it is cooked. But we're going to clean all that crap out in there, make sure it's good. And we've actually are going to order some new parts for this to put it before we put it back together. But now on the, to me, when I was riding the quad, it was cutting out, running rich and bogging, hesitation, and then it would roll out and go pretty good, but the air filter saturated in gas, the springs broke, so I went ahead and dropped this clip. Well, I actually raised it. It was on the bottom, like not the bottom, but one notch down from where it's at now. I got it in the second notch from the top now, and this is a stock needle. So we're going to run it like that. After we get the new spring, throw it all back together, run that clip one up, and see if that takes care of the situation. But that's what we got going on with this nice Yamaha four-wheeler. So we'll get that all cleaned up. Hope we'll slap it back on there. This is going to be a quick little video of what's going on. We'll clean all this for the idle screw adjustment, the idle adjustment, not the idle adjustment. This is the idle adjustment, but the air fuel mixture adjustment. Here, we're going to put it back in, turn it out 2.5 turns, run that needle up one, second clip from the top, second groove from the top, clean all this up, put it back together, and I'll show you where we're at when we're done. We're not actually going to be sticking this, or this back in. That's where the needle goes, is down in there. Well, we might stick it back on there. but we won't bolt the cap on because we need the spring. We're going to order that. But we'll get all this here cleaned up, and we'll get back at you here in just a second. Well, here's what we got left. I went ahead and put the float and everything back in it. Here you go. If you're cleaning a Wolverine carburetor, you have a jet here you need to take out clean, a jet down in here you need to take out clean. This is your idle screw, not idle screw, but your air screw mixture. You need to clean it also, take it out, clean it. There's a rubber O-ring, then a metal washer, spring, and then the actual needle itself. Needle and seat, back in, that little screw behind there you can see right there, you take it out, you can pull this out. Some of them you can't pull out, but this one you can. I set the diaphragm back down in here, and you got to be careful which way you put it in. They actually have, let me see if I can set this down here, this little step out on the diaphragm that it can only go one way, so you got to make sure you got that in there. And there's also a jet underneath there. Well, let me take it out here. Let me set you down just for a second. You got to be super careful with this diaphragm when you're pulling it out. You don't want to tear it or what have you, because that's very, very expensive. That's like 40, I think that diaphragm is 40 something dollars. But if you can see there, that 80, that's another jet you can get out and clean. That there is your choke mechanism. Blow all this out. I know there's still a little bit of grimy fingerprint grease down in there, but clean this surface all around here. Right here, there's actually an O-ring that goes there, and it's laying right here. I'm going to set it back in there here in just a second. I'm actually going to put the needle and everything back down in here. The broken spring, I'm going to stick back down in there, put the cap on it. That way I won't lose nothing. This gasket here, I'm buying and replacing, but I'm going to go ahead and stick that on with the 4 screws just to where I won't lose nothing. Have it all back together. That way when the parts come in, I can take it back apart. Just snug the screws up, take it back apart, slap my spring in, put that in. You can see here this little thing don't have nothing, no gasket or nothing, because your actual diaphragm is the gasket for that. So once the parts come in from Rocky Mountain, we're going to take this all back apart, slap the new spring in it, and put it back together. And I don't know what year these Wolverines has this carburetor, but just say from 03 to 05, somewhere in there, is basically the same kind of setup. But we're going to put all that back together. We got this diaphragm and everything here back in and bolted on like it's supposed to be. So the only thing we have to do when the parts come in is drop the bowl, put that gasket on, slap the bowl back on, take the 4 screws here off, slap that spring in, put it back together, and stick it back onto the four-wheeler. Bolt everything back up. I got a screw here, screws here and here. There's actual screws underneath the tank here because I had to lift the tank up just a little bit to get the carb out. Breather hose goes onto your intake. This is your throttle cable. Bolt it back on. This breather, this hose here and this hose here goes through this dirty rubber deal in these 2 hoses. This one here is actually another hose that runs, where did it go? It's in there somewhere, guys. Anyways, I'm gonna clean the air boot out, clean it up good, check it out, clean all this out of this, and the breather, the air tube here for the breather box, and then the filter. Let's go over here and check it out. There's the seat. I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to get this back onto the filter, because the customer don't want to buy a new piece. That's freaking pretty expensive, but we are going to get a new filter, oil it up, slap it on, make sure it's all good and right, ready to rock. But after we do that, we'll get it back on the four-wheeler, and that'll be it, guys. We get the parts in, we'll slap it together, and we'll have a video of it running. Hopefully she runs way better than it has. I rode it around the yard here, and it was just a dog. It was horrible. So, thanks for watching, guys. I know it's kind of a little different than the CR500. We'll be getting it back on the channel here in a little bit. This is actually, I got the 500 is done. I done got videos of it. I just hadn't posted them yet. This is just kind of a spur of the moment, slap it in the video here. So anyways, the 500 videos are still going to be coming. I just figured I would throw this Yamaha Wolverine beauty on the channel for viewing purposes of how to kind of clean the carburetor on one of these if you have one. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video. I'll probably look completely different because, like I said, I got the 500 videos stockpiled. They're coming. I just got to get them wound up. We love you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.